by now I like to find the letters first before I graph. I always like to graph last because I do need those A, B, and C values to graph. So help me. You guys can read through. I got numbers here. I talked yesterday. Make sure you know the numbers represent. I got a 130 here. Where was it? The number's not there, but it's written in words. I got 5 feet here, and then I got 8 minutes here. All right, and they all mean something. Okay, they all mean something, and I have to use them. So I'll give you a second to read through, then I'll start calling on people. Okay, here we go. A value. How do I find it? How do I find my A value? I know this has been over and over again, but let's keep grinding away here. Might take a while to find somebody. Ariana, how do I find the A value?
Max minus min over 2.
Yep, max minus min over 2. It's called the amplitude, if they ever ask for the amplitude. Those values are already given in the problem. No, you're good. You're good. Hear from a bunch of people here. Marty, where are my max and min?
Some of that.
Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. It's going to be fun today. Kate, what's my max and min?
130 and 5.
Yep, so 130 minus 5 over 2. So we have an A value of 62.5.
Yeah.
All right, next up, I'll skip over B and go right to C, just because similar. Owe me a bunch here. What's the deal today? Ethan, C value formula. Yep. So just add those numbers now and divide by 2. And we're looking at 67.5 for C. All good so far, no issues before we get to the B value. All right, the B value is not 12, but you are going to use 12 to find out what is 12 in this problem. What's it again? Or 8, sorry, 8 minutes. Makes one full rotation, 8 minutes. So 8 is actually the what in this problem, Isabel? Period, good. So I'm going to use that and say 8 equals 2 pi over B. So go ahead, cross multiply. And let me know what B is when you have it. Kate, when you're ready, B value.
Pi over 4.
Good job, pi over 4. All right, so there's A, B, C. It didn't ask me to write the equation, so I'm not going to. You ready to graph? All right, somebody talk to me. Y-axis first. Y-axis, what 3 values have to go on your Y-axis? Because I think I have all 3 already, but what 3 have to go on there? Ooh, Ethan, back to you. What 3 values? Max, min, shift, C value, midline, whatever you want to call it, and I have all 3 values. So up on your Y-axis right now, you should have 5, 130, and we just found the shift was 67.5. All right, so there's no break here, so decide what you want to go by, because that's a big range of values. You got to have 5 to 130 on there, and it looks like there is no break here, so we got to start at 0. Anybody want to throw out what they're going by to make sure I have 5 and 130 on there? Anybody want to throw out what they can go by? Kate, what are you going by?
I'm confused.
Oh, okay, so I need the minimum, right? The minimum's 5.
But when you put it in the equation, don't you add the C to the...
Well, if I wrote the equation here.
Don't you add C to the max?
Okay, whoa. If I watch, ready? If I did the equation, it'd be y equals 62.5 cosine pi over 4x plus 67 and a half. If I had you guys write the equation, that would be it, right? Yeah, and you're correct. I would do 62 and a half plus 67 and a half, which gives me 130. You can do it either way. They're telling you what the max is up here. Because isn't that what I plugged into my formula too, right? Good. So whether you get it from the equation you write, because if I added 62 and a half and 67 and a half, I'd get 130. Or if you just get it from the problem, it's up to you. So how do I need 5 and 130 on there. What are you guys going by? Tens? That's what I went by. All right, I'd go by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, here's 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30. Yep, definitely go by tens. And you're ready for the x-axis. And it only says the what? Sketch 1 cycle, right? Yep, only one, so you can have your 4 markings here. Okay, what goes on the last one now? What should be going on the last tick mark there? Talk to me. There we go. Max, what should go on the last one?
Pi over 4.
What's that?
Pi over 4.
That's your B value. That goes into the equation. That has nothing. We're not going to do anything with that on the x-axis. The frequency doesn't go there. The period goes there. So what was the period in this one? 8. There you go. So 8 goes there, the period. Now, how do you figure out what you have to go by and start? Now, what do I do with that 8? Son of a gun. Let's keep rolling. Grant, what do I have to do to that 8?
Divide by 4.
And what do you get?
2.
So 2, 4, 6. Pretty standard, right? Until now. Here's where the trick comes in, is when you actually start plotting these points. Because what curve am I going to do? This is a cosine curve. So if I asked whoever I called right now, would be like, oh, we start at the max. Read through the problem. Where's this person get on? At the lowest point, right? So it's actually flipping it on you here. And plus also, too, think of a Ferris wheel. Are you really one big giant step up to 130? Probably not, right? So we got to get on the lowest point. All right, now talk to me. I'll be patient. Drew, what's its lowest point?
5.
5. Then where's it going to go to?
Midline.
Midline, we said, was what? 67 and a half? Just be in the ballpark. Then where, Drew?
The maximum.
Max now, yep, because we're flipping everything. Then where?
Midline.
Yep. And then where's this one going to end? Back down at 5, and I grabbed that wrong. Should be halfway. Okay, so there's a little trick there. Gets on at its lowest point. Which means it didn't. I wrote it because I was trying to answer Kate's question. It didn't ask me, but my equation's wrong too. There you go. Correct. Yep. Should have a negative out if I was asked to write the equation. All right, so just be aware, gets on at its lowest point. So I didn't actually have a negative sign to show me to flip, but I needed to know to flip it. Anything there? Pretty standard going? All right, one more. Okay, so we got the equation, ready to roll. All right, I want you to think about this because I'm not coming out and saying min, max, midline here. For part A, at what height was the ball released? Look at the equation. It's what type of curve? It's a cosine curve, which usually we say would start where? Max, but what's it have on it? A negative. So really, what am I looking for in part A? The ball is going to be released at its minimum. Everyone see that? It's not going to be released at the max because I got a negative. So it's actually going to be released at the minimum. And want to calculate that for me? What are you adding, subtracting here to get the minimum? Talk to me here. Ethan, back to you.
Do you want to just answer?
No. How do you calculate it? What numbers you punching in your calculator?
I did the negative 3.5.
The original minimum, right? And then what you do with that, with the shift?
You did
Plus 5 to it. Good. Yep. Original minimum and then the shift. So 1 point, it's going to be released at 1.5 feet. And then feet here, right? Yep. And what about the max? Calculate the max for me. How you doing it? Emma, here you go. You're up.
Just make 3.5 positive and add 5.
There you go. Yep. So that ball's going to go to 8.5. And then finally, how many seconds does it take to get back to its original position? What am I asking for? Period, right? That's all I'm asking for. Another fancy without me saying the word. What's the period? Okay, so period equals 2 pi. Look at your equation. What's your b value? I'm looking at the equation. 1, 2. Grant, what's my b value?
4 pi over 5.
Good, 4 pi over 5. So 2 pi divided by 4 pi over 5. That doesn't scare us. Now we're looking at 2.5. So as soon as it's released, 2.5 seconds to come back down again. All right, let's do the graph. We'll get at. We'll let you guys work on your own. All right, tell me what 3 values have to go on the y-axis here. What 3 values are going up here? Kate, what 3 values I got to go on the y-axis?
The min, the max, and the minimum.
Yep, so I got 1.5, 8.5, and that midline of 5. All right, so whatever you want to go by, those 3 values got to be on there: 1.5, 5, and 8.5. So I probably could get away by going with anything I wanted to, right? I can definitely go by ones. I can probably go by a half if I really wanted to spread it out, right? It's up to you. And then just quick check, how many cycles? Just one. It says draw a sketch of 1 complete period. So 4 tick marks. Okay, take your time when I ask this. Take your time. What goes on the last tick mark there? On the x-axis, what goes on the last tick mark? We'll keep rolling. Kate, what should go on the last one? 5 over 2.5. There you go. That goes on the last one. That's the period. And then what do you have to do to 2.5 to find the rest of them? Relax over there, Ariana.
Divide by 4.
There you go. That's a decimal, right? 0.625. Am I there? All right. So nobody freak out. All right. So 0.625. Keep adding 0.625 every time, and eventually you'll get to 2.5. So the next one I have is 1.25. Add 6.625 again, and you end up with 1.875. Add it again, you got your 2.5. All right. Now we just got to graph it. Finish strong. Here we go, Ethan. Where do I start this one?
Minimum.
Minimum. It should be the max, but I got a negative. Flip it. 1.5. I'm going to start this bad boy at 1.5. Then where?
Midnight.
5 to the 8.5 for this ball. Then back to, yep, finish.
Minimum.
Right there. And there is the ball on the string. Ball on the string. Questions? Okay. If it gets confusing, call me over. All right, because some of these ones here on the assignment get a little tricky. All right, so call me over if you need anything.